We are rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Creative Businessmen. Today it's just me and Daniel.
What's going on?
We don't have any guests today, so we're just going to talk about some of the stuff that we're into right now, or current events.
Yeah, man, let's do it. I'm excited to unpack a few things. My phone's been going crazy the last hour. You know, some of the employees, you know who you are.
We talking employees and shit? What's up, business boys? How we doing, man?
What are you doing?
I'm just hanging out over here in my fucking wardrobe Narnia universe. You guys, you want to come hang out? You don't have a guest or nothing? Want to come?
Yeah,
I guess we can go.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Check out Eric's show. Yeah, let's do this.
Let's go check his show out.
Fun for everybody. Let's go.
Hey.
Come on over. Let's hang out, man.
I'm bringing my drink.
Please bring drinks for everybody.
Maybe bring the other drinks.
Yeah, I know.
You do whatever you want. Hell yeah. Thanks for
Let's
coming
do it. I'll
over.
sit
Hell
here.
yeah. Here, you sit there. Neil, grab over there. Grab some of these headphones you guys paid for. Fuck yeah. Man, this is awesome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be on your show on my set.
I like it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
This is exciting.
It's awesome.
So I guess now we're actually officially your first guest.
You are my first guest.
Oh,
Hell
there we
yeah.
go.
Hell yeah.
Hey, we love what you've done with the place.
I love what we've done with the place.
Yeah.
This place is so cool. Thanks for closing that.
I just want to let you know, for anybody out there that watches ours, I can't take credit for anything in this room. It's amazing.
Yeah,
you guys did great.
I was telling Neil, I was in here the other day just by myself, kind of getting the vibe, standing up on the mic, and I wanted to figure out if I could do it. And I was in a room by myself, and I made myself laugh, and I was like, oh, we'll be fine. You just need to be in here. And I was thinking, one of the things I was thinking, as soon as I got the laugh, I said, he fucking nailed it. And then I realized when I tell people they nailed it, I'm going to spell it N-E-I-L. No more N-A. You nailed it. You did it. You pulled the nail on that one. You fucking nailed every detail of it, man.
I'm going to
Thanks,
start
man.
using that too. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it.
Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
I like
And
that.
it's not finished yet, so they know it's
Work in progress, man.
still some final touches.
Coming over and
Yeah.
getting all comfortable with everything. I don't know how any of this stuff works, so I just come in and complain until somebody changes it for me like a baby. I just need my diaper changed here and there. I feel like we're gonna do so much cool shit in this
Absolutely.
building coming up.
Yeah,
Definitely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
We met at the gym, right?
Yeah.
Just-
No.
Actually,
Property management. Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, the very first time was I was looking at a commercial property that I think Neil was the commercial
Property manager.
for this company. And I'm trying to remember what car I drove up in.
You were in a convertible BMW
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
dollar signs in the back.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did some stuff like that. Yeah, I had some asshole tags like "got money" with a question mark and "envy us," and the S was a money symbol. And when people give me shit about it, I'd be like, "No, it's envy the U.S."
Right.
Yeah, I'm just proud of my country. Right? And
I mean, so you guys, let's get back to how you met in a little bit. I'll get off track and we'll find our way back. But when you guys met doing business stuff, how long was it until you started doing business together? And also that thing with the tags, right? Envy us, got money, all that. How far after making money was that? Like, how different is it not having money and then having money? Do you
no,
understand?
I mean actually, at 13 I was that way.
No shit.
So I think really what people get wrong is success so much is a state of mind, right? Like it's what we, it's how we look at things. And I want you to think about it from, like Neil talks about how we perceive time. We perceive time in a very linear fashion. So let's think that way. Let's use an example that everybody can relate to on some level. Is you understand that, let's say you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or any position, you would say, oh, I've got to go through, essentially 18 years of school, graduate high school. I've got to go to 4 years of college. Like, there's a plan. You can literally look at a book and go, okay, if you do X, Y, and Z at the end successfully,
This math adds up.
yeah, at the end, you end up with this degree, right? You can be an attorney or a doctor or whatever you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And for me, business is the exact same way. Success is the exact same way, right? You have to think about it the same way. It's just a series of events that lead you down a path, right? And so at 13, I used to say things like, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30. Now at 13, you obviously don't understand the concept of what $1 million is, and what we're talking about is what that money can do, right?
Okay.
Like the value it represents is really at that time at 13. Well, when I was 13, $1 million did more than what it does today, right?
Okay.
Inflation 101. But so at 13, I knew I was going to do really well, and so it was a state of mind. Like I thought of myself as a hustler, as a hard worker, and when you compare yourself at an early age to your peers, I was ahead of them. And so as far as financially, I just had this mindset that if I'm ahead of them and I continue to be ahead of them as I age, I'll always be one of the top performers, which means by default, as I age, I'll be ahead of I can continue to keep that pace, and I'll just be a top performer.
Where's that mindset come from?
Man, I don't know.
Born with it, family, earned it, learned it.
You met my father.
Yeah.
I would say my family. My mother hates.
Call him Mr. Mayor from now
Yeah,
on.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mayor is my mother and father. My mother and Mr. Mayor don't particularly like this part, but we grew up really poor.
Okay.
But I didn't know we were poor, but we were, and I think the problem, during that period, my father was very entrepreneurial. He ended up becoming a public speaker, and companies would pay him to come out, and I mean, like he accomplished a whole lot for a guy that originally joined the military when he was 17 years old.
And he was really poor growing up.
Yeah, extremely poor. Yeah. So I feel like on some level I got really lucky because my father was. I would go to like these network marketing meetings, the Amways, the Metalucas, like the opportunity, like any of these things I remember very vividly, in the early 90s, as a very, very, very young child, because I'd be in the car with him for hours. I'd hear him on the phone. So I was immersed into that a little bit. But, we talk about this. Why doesn't an ant build an anthill, right? Like I think on some level, my brothers grew up in the same environment. I'm not better than they are by any means. We're different. But our drive levels for what we find important and what we're driven to accomplish is different for each of us. So, like, what makes me me? I have no clue. There's some inherent thing in me that it's my happy place. Like
you wanted to win.
Yeah, and at 16, 17, 18, 19, the tags, the weird stuff on the cars, like. I think what it was is basically an affirmation.
Do it, fake it till you make it shit?
Yeah, I mean, and I was making it, but I mean, I guess it's all relative,
like the faking part, you were right to make it?
I mean, I mean, it's a mindset too. Like, I mean, what's the difference? So it's all relative. At the thing when I said got money, I don't know. My net worth at that point might have been, maybe $1 million. I don't know, maybe less, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. It could have been $100,000. My mentality was still the same. Like the question was designed to be thought provoking, and I wanted some level at that age. I was open to debate, and it caused a lot of debate. It caused a lot of problems, right? And people took it in a negative way, but really, it was supposed to spark conversation.
You were pretty cocky back then.
I was extremely, yeah. and I mean, I honestly. At some point,
you still have some of that in you, though.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, at 25, I realized that that's not the guy that I wanted to be, and I spent till 30 trying to fix it.
Soften some of the edges.
Yeah, and now like, I don't need to like now I don't do things necessarily for other people. I do things because I particularly like them.
That's the difference.
You see me I wear shorts and a T-shirt or my black. If you watch all the episodes, I literally wear the exact same things over and over and over and over again because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Also, you're OCD and you spend too much time in the closet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's a comfort thing, right? Like, I mean, and that's the is that a thing that drives either of you guys with work? Like, is it the comfort? Because that's what drives me with almost everything is comfort or discomfort. You know what I mean? I'm either in discomfort and I need comfort, or I enjoy comfort. And sometimes the discomfort is what makes me work. But is it the comforting shit? Like, no, not so much. You really like the work.
No, yeah, I don't think
like
it's
the
the comfort.
Too. Yeah.
You're thinking comfort right now because that's more reflective of where you're at.
Right.
I think as you progress down this road you're on, that you're starting.
Right.
I think you'll realize it's not a comfort thing.
Okay. What is it?
I think it's more. I think there's a lot of discomfort.
Yeah. I'm good with discomfort.
A lot of anxiety, a lot of stress.
The anxiety, dude. Yeah, so, okay, that's a fucking thing. Yeah. Let's fucking talk about it. The fucking anxiety. So last night, I couldn't go to bed because we were doing this today, right?
Right.
And this is every day
Yeah.
for me. Anytime I got to do anything, my brain starts 48 hours before. When I tell people, oh, how much do you get paid for the show? You know, I do shows for free. I do shows for $35. I do shows for $1,000. And every one of those, I'm not getting enough fucking money because people are like, oh, $500 to do 20 minutes. That's fucking amazing. No, it's 48 hours of me stressing. Am I going to be good? Am I going to fucking suck? Am I a fraud? Is everybody about to figure it out?
Yeah.
And last night, I had the same thoughts about this shit. I got in my negative fucking headspace. I snapped myself out of it because my kid was there. But the anxiety fucking takes me, and it takes me a lot.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to fight that back. But you guys, you talk about having anxiety, but it just looks like you're fucking working.
We just handle it well, but it's always there a lot.
And you'll condition yourself better. Yeah. So not like 99 out of 100. If you just show up, you'll get through it.
That's how I feel.
I mean, literally. Maybe you want to say the fake it till you make it, but it's not. It's just show up. Like it doesn't really matter how bad things get, because the reality is things can get terrible, and maybe you can't do anything about it. But you can't do anything about the act. But what you can control is how you react to it, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I liken it to, like, let's say that some terrible thing happened. You're going to stress about it, thinking we're going to act some type of way. Really, the only obligation you have is just to communicate with us so that we're in the same know that you are.
Yeah.
And we all come together and figure out a way to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Like, we say this to people. We say, hey, if we're gonna make money with you, we should be willing to lose money with you,
Hell
right?
yeah.
It works both ways.
Hell yeah.
Which also means we got to be able to solve problems as a team together and know that me and him plan for. I mean, like, man, I'm telling you.
Plan for the losses.
You got to plan for
That's
the
how I live my whole
Yeah.
life. It's not financial. It's just emotional, though. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I'm always ready for the emotional loss.
Right.
But that's what's different now is I said to somebody I was talking to a couple weeks ago, I've always been ready for bad shit, but now I'm ready for good shit, too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know both are going to come because I'm expecting both. I was only expecting the bad shit for a very long time.
Right.
Neil saw me having a panic attack on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, the club, I was at the club and I was bartending, and the crowd starts coming in, and I didn't want to do it. And, you know, I feel pinned back there a lot of times, you know. I like being there. Anyways, the anxiety hit, and, you know, there's no option. And I know this. It happens at every show I've ever done. And people say, oh, you're so fucking comfortable on stage. And I am. As soon as I get up and I start talking, I'm at home.
Yeah.
But in the middle of that, there's a lot of doubt. And before it and after it, it's all only doubt and bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to
Right.
fix that part of it, you know?
No, and you'll overanalyze, like, after things happen. You know, you'll beat yourself up about it. But the reality is, this is going to be a little cliche. I'm stealing this somewhat from Neil's way of thinking.
Cliches are cliches for a reason.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
True, yeah.
We go cliche heavy on
Hey,
this show.
I'm going cliche as shit right now.
All day.
So, like, right now, you're the youngest you're ever going to be. Right
Again,
now.
yeah.
But you're also the oldest you've ever
I've
been.
ever been. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so think about that. It's like and I'm working on this, but like the thing that whatever's happening in this before this podcast that had me in some type of negative space, if I let it keep me in that negative space, it's going to negatively affect things moving forward, right? It's that ripple effect. But if you can, as quickly as you can, reset yourself and recenter and move forward, you start to realize that the lion's share of the world's problem that everybody worries about, most of it's not really that big of a deal. And I don't want to. What I mean is,
I understand. Perspective.
it's perspective, right? And like,
I always tell
if
people.
you live through it, that's you can get through just about anything.
I used to do a lot of comedy about childhood trauma. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about all that shit. I'm going to cry a lot and get real emotional, but I used to talk about a lot of that stuff on stage and try to figure out how to make it funny. And people would always, they'd either, how is it okay for you to talk about it? How are you okay? And I'm like, I'm not. That's why I'm talking about it. If I was okay, I wouldn't have to talk about it, but
Right.
because I have to. And then the other part of it is, what the fuck were we talking about? I'm so spaced out right now. I just got amped.
He's like, I'm jacked as
About
fuck.
perspective, dealing with
Overcoming things.
Yeah.
Who
dealing
Yeah.
with
gives a
issues
fuck?
and anxiety.
I got too high.
Yeah. You didn't share.
It's around somewhere. We'll talk about it off camera. We're in Virginia right now, so we can do whatever we want, right?
That's true.
That's right, yeah.
That's
It's
true.
illegal here.
Yes. We have a remote set. When we stepped through into Narnia, we changed to A whole different.
That's right.
Yeah.
We transported.
Over there, it's North Carolina. Over here, we're doing Virginia stuff.
Yeah, Eric wanted to levitate during the show, and I was like, I don't think we can do that, but we can definitely transport.
Yes.
Yeah. We can teleport. Yeah,
that's what that is right there. That's a whole transportation.
It's a wormhole.
Portal. Yeah,
That's
there.
true.
Yeah.
The fuck, we were talking about perspective, and I was saying, people ask me how I can talk about the fucking shit on stage. Oh,
Trauma.
It's the trauma, right? So people, so they either ask me how I can do it. They do this thing that I call trauma tennis. It's like you say a bad thing that happened to you, I say a bad thing that happened to me, and you go back and forth until one of you is exhausted or you realize you've been a piece of white trash your entire fucking life, which is what happened to me. I was playing with a buddy of mine, and he's really fucking good at the game. And I was like, what the fuck happened to me? But and so what I always tell people is when they do that after shows, I say, listen, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. The worst thing that's ever happened to me, worst thing they're equal. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We can judge and all that, but you feel the same way about that bad thing as I feel about this bad thing. And it's less about the experience and more about the feelings, right?
Right, yeah.
So this thing fucking injured me and hurt me, and that thing injured you or hurt you. It doesn't matter what it was. We both feel the same way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I try to do with the comedy. When I'm talking about really deep shit, if we can just pin down what the emotions are, we can relate to each other on a bunch of different fucking levels.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And also with going back to the anxiety thing, I think a lot of people try to subdue their anxiety. They take drugs or whatever to, medications to drop the anxiety. But I think if you can learn to harness the anxiety, you'll accomplish a lot more, because that's what drives me. It's that heavy anxiety, that constant stress, the panic attacks and stuff. Those things mean I'm doing what I should be doing. When you're doing something challenging and you're really pushing yourself.
You like being scared.
It's scary, but that's what drives me. That's what makes me do more. And I think,
So instead of running away from it, you're using it as
embracing
fuel
it
to continue running.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel it. I feel it now.
I have anxiety right now.
Yeah.
I'm in it. Yeah, it's wild. Just because this is a new thing. I was telling my kid last night, one of the reasons I couldn't sleep is I was like, it's different making stuff that people are going to consume in front of them. Like at a comedy club, on stage, I can control, I can judge how people are thinking and feeling and whatever it is. And with this, putting stuff out that people are going to see after the fact and have their opinions about, I've gone to a point where I much don't give a fuck. I realized I got all the silly taken away from me when I was a kid, and I want it back. It's mine, and I want it back. So I've just been being real fucking silly with it. And there's a lot of pressure. I always think about what are people gonna fucking think, and now I care a lot less, but it still creeps in every now and again. In those moments of doubt, man, all of that. When you use your anxiety how many businesses? Let's just fucking talk. How many businesses do you guys fucking own?
Well, I've owned probably 25 different companies since I was about 22.
Jesus Christ.
I've
had 25 cats.
You're the cat person.
But I've sold most of my businesses. Some failed.
Yeah.
And now I've really consolidated my work into mostly just I do some consulting. I do some consulting for some of Daniel's companies.
Right?
Yeah.
You have a team that you work with.
Right. Yeah. And I have clients I work with, but outside of that, I'm really mostly focused on the creative side and this studio and other creative work.
And this is what's next for you.
Right. Yeah. This is.
Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Like, when did you guys have the idea for this type of thing and all of that?
I think we've had the idea to do a podcast for a long time.
Yeah. So what are we doing, and when did the idea come? Let's tell people in case they don't know. Or is that not a thing we?
It was a couple. I mean, honestly, it's probably a couple years ago. Neil and I get in these talks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really funny. We circle all the way back to the first time we met.
Yes.
It was funny because I went to look at the property, and I don't know if he remembers or not, but really, me and him ended up talking a good amount of that about kind of filling each other out.
Yeah.
Right. I think that was part of it. Right.
I was curious.
Yeah. And but
19-year-old guy in a convertible BMW. Yeah. What are you doing, man?
What were you doing?
I was the property manager. I was a commercial property manager.
What were you driving?
A work truck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good meeting.
Yeah.
Like if we were writing that as a script, those are the vehicles you'd both be driving.
Yeah, definitely. And then we just kept coming into each other, and then eventually into the gym at Ashboro Health and Fitness. I can't remember if that was the name of it originally, but
yeah.
when we were there,
it
was a long story, but But either way, though, I think over the years, what's remained true for him and I is we would, and it's definitely over the last half decade for sure. We'd go down these long, like we were both very analytical. That's really what it's about, right? Is like just bouncing things off each other. Like you guys are in here going on the creative process, and you just don't know what's going. Him and I will go down those paths, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we would just make comments. I remember him saying things like we would, admire somebody else's podcast or admire somebody else's thing, and but then we do what we always do. We'd say, well, I really feel like this should be this way, or this should be that way, or they should run the business this way. Like you take something and then you improve upon it. I don't know that there's anything new out there. I think it's really just about improving on what's already there.
Different variations.
Different variations and putting your own spin. And I think that's where a lot of it.
They say that about comedy. There's only there's X amount of jokes, like 5 jokes or whatever it is. And then it's just different takes and variations.
It's like the numbers between numbers. There's an infinity of numbers between numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always trip my mind out. Every time you say something like that, it looks like one of those posters that I see at Hot Topic, where it's just a fucking black hole and going in on it. So I can't fucking handle it.
Yeah. You guys are making me think like, how there's like only like 12 stories or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was
you
talking
just
about.
Fold them and fold them.
Yeah.
And make them look a little different.
I said 5 because I simplify. I only have 5
There
jokes.
probably are 5.
Yeah.
I only have 5 jokes. I don't. If I had 12 jokes, I'd say it was 12, but I only have 5. And I just make different variations of those 5. And most of them are fart jokes.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of dick stuff, and we do some sad stuff. That's the.
And you're working on some sack material. We were just
we're
working
on some sack material, some new underwear.
Yeah.
I want to. My whole goal. I want to be honest with you guys. My whole goal with this podcast is just to get some new underwear. If I can get new underwear, dude. If I can get new underwear, Neil. That's all I want in my fucking life.
Hey, I think you're going to kneel it.
I'm going to kneel it. Fucking callbacks, baby. Hell yeah. So talk to me about how your show's been going. What's the experience been like so far? You're like 60-something episodes in?
Yeah, I think so. 64 maybe.
Hell yeah.
67,
yeah.
We've talked about doing a podcast for a couple of years, and or doing some type of something like a show type thing, and we were actually initially talking about doing separate podcasts.
Yeah.
And then Daniel, just one day we were meeting, and he's like, "Hey man, why don't we just go ahead and do a podcast?" And I was like, and I was thinking I would wait a couple of years, but I was like, "Yeah, we should just go ahead and do it."
Or why wait a couple of years?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why
Right?
I asked myself,
It's
and
the
I was like,
fucking
"There's
dope.
no reason.
Yeah.
Like we should go ahead and do it now while it's a
It's
good time to
starting
get in."
anything, right?
I'm going to say Neil's a little bit more conservative than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Slightly. I mean, now putting this into comparison, compared to 99.9% of the population, he's extremely aggressive in business. But I think in the context of us two as business, I'm a little bit more like, fuck it, let's just do it.
I'm more conservative with money. I
With
guess.
money, yeah.
But you guys are like a good team, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You're complimenting each other in the where your weakest is the other person's strength. Is that how it is?
We've got some similars, but I do
Yeah.
definitely think there's some things that we both excel in that the other doesn't.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
which I think really works well. But I'm going to say, and I think that's accurate, but I think that Neil's been, without knowing it, has been going down this path for like 5 years, 6 years.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, like
Oh,
this,
yeah.
this is the space, the creative space that he really, really, really needs to be in. I think.
Yeah.
Like it's just if we
it's
can
the
take
space I need to be in.
if we can take the successes that we've had and everything else and put it into this,
Yeah.
right? And again, it's like it's not rocket
You got to
science.
take a fucking swing on it.
So really, I've been going down this path my whole life.
Yeah.
Even
So I've always been
Time just caught up to
creative.
this.
Honestly, the creative came before the analytical stuff. As a kid, I was always creative. As far as I can remember, I was always into drawing and art and creating things. But also,
Do you have any of that stuff?
probably
What's the oldest
somewhere.
thing you made that you still have?
he's got some stick figure finger paintings I like.
I think my mom kept some of my old stuff.
That would be cool
Um,
to find those, right?
yeah,
I think stuff like that's fucking fascinating.
I should be able to find it. But
Yeah, you should find it.
but I was always interested in business too. I was poor, just like Daniel was talking about. I was we were really poor, and
He was poorer than I was. That's,
I,
Mom, that's for you. Neil was poorer than I was.
but I,
Did you have indoor plumbing?
Oh yeah.
You win.
I was my military brat. So
Yeah, you win.
we had the essentials, man. I guess poor is relative.
but,
yeah, for sure, right? Poor is a mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We were poor.
Yeah, y'all were poor.
Yeah, we didn't have plumbing, and we would actually get water. We'd go across the street, and they had one of those wells with a bucket,
Yeah.
and we'd drop that in the well and pull water up.
Yeah.
Where is that, by the way? Do you ever go back
It's in
there?
Ashboro. Yeah, my parents still live on the property, but
Really?
it's in a
Same
different
property?
house.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, they got rid of the asbestos house, right?
I mean, we were poor, but in a lot of ways we were rich too,
Should go walk around with a camera.
because we had land and I had family. You know, I didn't realize I was poor until I was older.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So-
where did that? What was the realization that you knew you were poor?
Well, just seeing what other people had.
Yeah.
You know, your friends and stuff.
Right.
But going back to the inspiration for like this and getting how I got to here
Yes.
and then also business, you know, I would draw things when I was like 4 or 5 years old and then put price tags on them and then sell them to family members.
Hell yeah,
So
dude.
I've always had that
We talked about that. Yeah.
business interest too. But then when you're a poor kid, you're really focused on making money and gaining resources to not be poor. So a lot of my early life was just, how can I make sure I'm not in that situation again? You know, and I've always cared a lot about humanity and society and stuff like that too. So ultimately, my biggest goal in life is really to create a situation where I have the resources to really make a difference in the world. You know, not, you know, for my family for sure, and take care of my family and my friends and people I care about and I'm close to, but also to somehow make an impact in the entire society. And this is a great way to do that through entertainment. You know, it's a platform. It's communication.
Conversation, information.
Yeah, it's just sharing ideas and maybe planting good seeds in
So
society.
do you guys? So financial literacy is. I'm financially illiterate. I think I was taught pretty young that money was evil and I don't need it to be happy, which I think is bullshit.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's like saying a hammer is evil and a contractor doesn't need it to be a successful contractor.
yeah.
You're given a negative context to an inanimate object
Absolutely.
that's just a tool.
Yeah, it is a tool.
Yeah.
And so-
It amplifies you. So just as a hammer, if I was to have to hammer that in with a rock, you know, it would take longer, and the hammer improves upon that,
You
and
should
then
do it,
a nail gun takes you to the next level, right?
Yeah.
One's not more evil than the other, right?
Right.
They're just increasingly more efficient.
Yeah.
There's also a difference between building wealth and building power.
So
Agreed.
With the idea of financial literacy, I come from a place where there wasn't an issue. Nobody talked about it. I had people around me who did have money and were good with money, but I was also around people who were incredibly poor. And the difference between the groups of friends I would hang out with. Anyways, my point is, I see a lot of young people coming up now. If someone was trying to get their shit together financially, do what you've done. What's a first step to? What's the thing I got to learn?
So I don't think I've thought about this a lot for years. I don't know that that's something you could necessarily teach. I think you can teach it to an extent, right? I think you can teach responsible behavior and good financial sense. You can't teach ambition. You know, I mean, people are as ambitious as they want to be. I think that's the problem we have to solve in a society is we need to raise the floor high enough where there's no poverty, where everyone has truly an equal opportunity to aspire to do what they want to do with their life. If they want to just have an entry-level job their whole life, that's fine. They can do that and have a decent life. They have a decent place to stay. They have health care. They have all these basic needs that are met. They're not hungry. They're not unhappy. You know, they have a decent life. But if they want to excel in something, they can pursue that thing
Having access
that
to
they want to excel in. And I don't think at the same time you shouldn't have a ceiling either.
Sure.
You should be able to do as good as you want to do. The whole goal is to make society progress as far as it can.
How do you do that?
Well, you have to change the construct. You have to change the way we look at money and the way we look at finances and the way we structure the society. And some of that's just technology too.
How do you do that?
Well, it's doing it itself.
Yeah,
You know, and
it is. I think that, but part of what you're talking about is what's really happened is your family, the people you care about, the people that are in your inner circle. When you're young, they put you in a box. Not intentionally. There's no negative. There's no ill will. Right.
Literally, sometimes. Though.
Yeah. And so you set your expectations when you're really young based on what you're taught. Right. What you're told is possible. And I remember this day, my father, he was in the military, obviously, like I said, and this is before they had started making money, and we were renting a house on Spink Street, I believe, in Ashboro, itty-bitty house. And I remember making some comment about I'm going to own a house bigger than that one day, and I was, Dad, why don't you buy something instead of renting? And I mean, I was probably, I don't know, 9 or 10,
Where
11
do those
years old.
ideas come from?
Exactly, right.
I used to have the same type of ideas too.
Yeah, but I think the problem would be is as a child, I think children, though, think about children. Don't children challenge the status quo? Don't they ask? Aren't they? At first, what happens is over time is parents, people that are influenced, like they continually put you in this box and they tell you what is and isn't possible. And I think some children, you hit some dogs, they back up in the corner. You hit some dogs, they attack you, right? I think some children just go, I don't buy that. I don't get it. And I was just naturally inquisitive. I questioned everything. It didn't make sense to me. So where did that part come from?
So-
Where did the drive come from? I don't know.
So I have this theory that what you do now is a continuation of what you were doing as a child.
I agree.
Right? And so we get rid of playing and being creative and being messy on a page. I don't ever remember when I was a kid drawing anything and thinking that's shitty. I never once thought that.
Yeah.
I thought that's the thing I just draw. You know what I mean? And most times
you're proud of it, yeah.
And then at some point, other people's voices get in your head. I draw the thing and I think that's not good enough, and then I stop fucking drawing. How is I going to get better at it, right? And that's why I'm saying I'm trying to be more childlike and get rid of that self-criticism and just be okay with making the bad thing.
So I was stubborn as a kid. So if you told me that you didn't like my drawing, I'd keep drawing it.
Yeah.
And then mock the prices up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is what you're saying, though, is that you want to change today. I don't care how old you are. Now, some of the things are innate, but I got to tell you, I think you're wrong because you already possess what it takes to be successful in business as an entrepreneur. You just don't know it because you're successful as a comedian, right? Like you've successfully went through different levels. And I don't mean success
Sure.
as in
Right.
other people affirming that for you.
Fair enough.
I mean, you've done what it takes. You have went out. You've put yourself out there. You've failed over and over and over again. You get some victories. Sometimes you take a loss and you don't quit. And you go through, you process all these emotions and all these things, and you get all these outside factors, but you stay the course. Everything in your life does not have to be perfect for you to be successful. Everything in your life doesn't have to be, just like in business. But if you think about it, you've already shown that you can take the steps necessary to be successful. In business, you just have to apply that same methodology you did to comedy to everything else, right? And
Well,
it's literally like that.
You haven't realized it yet either.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to keep doing it until it works.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
And,
Well,
and
there's
as long
things
as you're
that-
getting better.
It's easier to do things when you have a passion for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Comedy's a compulsion for me.
Yeah.
On the days I show up to a fucking open mic and I'm having a severe anxiety attack, why am I staying? Going home feels better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it will feel better, but
Yeah.
it won't feel better than doing well that night.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that, so I stick around. But it's because I have to do comedy. I
Yeah.
can't not do it. And so I'm trying to learn the skill of doing things I want to do
Mm-hmm.
and not have to. I have to. I have no choice on that.
Yeah.
I couldn't not do comedy if I wanted to.
So, one of the other things I think is we're really big on teams, right? Like hierarchical systems and literally building things and putting
Structure.
together structure is very
Yeah.
important. So you don't have to master all those things. What you
Right.
really need to do. So, like, let's say you are a young person out there or older person out there. If you see somebody that is living the life that you want to live, I would guarantee you, if you asked enough, if I went out right now, I don't care what it is, the best plumber in the world, the presidents, I firmly believe anybody, I could ask enough people and I'll get somebody to talk to me. Like, when I want to learn about a new business, that's exactly what I do. I put on my learning hat and I literally go in and I say, hey, I'm really impressed with what you've accomplished. I'm in awe. I would love to learn how to do this one day. I'm here. I'm a tool. Is there anything that I can do to be of value to you? I'd love to learn the business. And I think if you do that to enough people, they're going to open right up. I'm in the middle.
That's what we've done basically.
That's
You
what this
came over
is.
to comedy,
Yeah.
and he had that approach to me with comedy,
Yeah.
and we got to know each other, and then this came up.
Man, people want to help people. I know
Yeah,
there's a lot
man.
of people out there that you think live this life where they think the only way they can be successful is for other people to fail. And
Yeah.
I think, but there's even more people that believe in abundance.
Yeah.
And I think it's having the right mentality, the right personality, like the right energy, And if you're willing, like I'll take the guy with the right energy every day of the week over the guy that's got 10 times the talent but the wrong attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, before I lose this, because you had asked earlier about can you teach success or whatever. So I think everybody has something they're passionate about, right? And success isn't necessarily measured by financial success either. It's
True,
it's,
for sure.
It's a degree of happiness and fulfillment.
I've been
right?
happy with no money.
So like I have to be creating stuff all the time.
Okay.
Where I'm just not happy.
Me too. Yeah.
And working on new projects or new things. I feel like this is a good thing for me because it's an endless project.
I've also never had
So,
anybody. I've always been around either people who are creative like me and just had ideas but no execution, or assholes who couldn't do either. And now
Right.
finding you where you like to execute on things and get things going. For me, it's just like, well, I've had all these ideas for forever. And,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
honestly, getting the perspective from you guys has been super helpful for me. Like, because I'm trying to change how I think, man.
Yeah.
I've had so much negative energy in my life and negativity, and only for a very long time it was only bad things.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm fighting my way out of that now. And
Yeah.
that part of that is this, and part of that is having the backup of people I trust, and that team is, I can't do it without it. I tried doing it without it, and it just doesn't fucking work. Not
Right.
only does it not fucking work, being distant from the people I need to be around injured me as a person.
Yeah.
It didn't let me be what I want to be, and I'm still not there, but I'm focusing on growing all the time, and being more positive with the people in my life is changing it.
Yeah.
And so I've been watching all the people on Instagram and the positive shit and all that, and I've unfollowed and deleted more positivity than any human being who's ever existed. And now all I do is I fucking save it, and I'm gonna trick myself into believing. I had some moments about this thing that we're trying to do here, where I was just like, I want to help people, and I want to change stuff for people, and I started doubting if we could do that, if I could do it. And then for the first time in a very long time, I had a positive thought, a positive thought directed at me, about me, by me, right? And I was like, you're pretty fucking talented. And I've just never thought that before. I never knew it. 6 months ago was the first time I ever said I was good at comedy. And I think that was the first time I ever said I was good at anything.
Wow.
And now I'm starting to realize I'm good at some things.
You're very good at it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to do it.
And you're very creative too, which is great.
I'm trying to figure out how to be weird. I just want to be a weird guy.
That's where he and I compliment each other a lot, is because I'm good at business. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
you business
proven at
good.
business. Yeah, yeah. but I'm also very creative. I feel like I'm a
Yeah,
little
man.
more creative than I am
You
analytical.
hide that too, though.
Yeah.
You hide it with because when we sit and talk, I see you business wise, and then when you start getting creative, it's like, holy shit, where's that guy? Well, I need that guy all the fucking
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the business side has kept me alive. So
I was gonna say, I almost feel like it's a defense mechanism.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
but with Daniel,
That's-
so he's great. He's a business genius.
Yeah.
So I can have a really good creative idea, and I can run it by him, and he'll have a really good analytical
Way to
apply it.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually I have pretty good ways to apply things, but he usually ups me on the application
That's
side,
awesome.
which is great. It's very helpful.
I mean, that's what you need. You need
Yeah.
someone who, when you say, "Can we do this thing?" It's a "How can we do it?" and
Yeah.
this doesn't work.
Right,
type of
yeah.
thing, yeah.
And also, before I lose this too, is I thought
Yeah.
about this yesterday. We were talking about the floor of society or pursuing those passions. Like and a lot of people just can't pursue their passions, right? The society is almost set up where it's
Staying afloat is difficult enough.
difficult to get to a level where you can pursue your passions.
Yeah.
And you can make a simple mistake in life at a young age and just fuck it all up, and you
I
have no
made
chance.
all of those fucking mistakes.
Yeah, so
I made all of them.
So yesterday, we were at Mellow
Rest-
Mushroom
yeah, yeah.
Pizza in Winston-Salem, and there was a homeless guy sitting outside the restaurant on the ground, clearly mentally disabled, and someone gave him a pizza, which was cool, and I told the waitress if he needed anything, just put it on my tab,
Hell yeah.
but he was fine. And this other lady was walking around with it, pushing a shopping cart, and she was probably in her 50s, probably late 50s, and she was she looked confused. She's pushing the cart around. She goes to sit down at a table. She pulls the chair back, puts her purse on the table. The waitress comes out and asks her if she wants to sit there, and the waitress actually cleaned the table for her. We were outdoors, so which I thought was really nice. And the lady actually goes back to her cart, and she has like a container of sanitary wipes, and she pulls a couple out and goes and cleans the table and the chair and stuff. But she's clearly homeless.
Yeah.
And then she sits down and then gets right back up and then starts to, like, she's really confused. She's not really sure what she's doing, almost like she's schizophrenic or something.
Yeah.
And I asked her if she needed anything, and she smiled at me, and it was almost like a bashful smile, like either bashful or maybe even embarrassed. But she was not, all there. And I told my wife, I was like, how can this lady doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And that's the shit I've been thinking about a lot lately, man, is like, I don't know. How do we help people in that position? And I'll be perfectly honest with you. If this wasn't happening right now, if I didn't have the club downtown, in about 10 years, that would be me. And it still might be. You know what I mean? I've come to terms with the fact that at some point in my life, I was going to be alone and living outside.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to be you anymore, unless you just do it voluntarily.
Yeah.
Unless you
Which
just do
I have done that.
But my thought was, like, we. So here's the problem.
Both are possible, by the way.
Yes, for sure.
Right.
But
yeah.
it's also possible for me and for him,
right,
and for everybody.
For
else.
anybody, yeah.
Every there's an infinite number of possibilities, right?
Yes.
It's really just your choice and then those actions, right?
And some things aren't
it's
your
the
choice
actions
too, though.
and some things happen, and you need the assist on occasion, and that's what's recently. So when I'm away from people, when I got away from my, when I started comedy, I broke ties with everybody. I disappeared. I fell off the planet. I lived in a van. I didn't talk to anybody. My kids, my wife at the time, anyone I was dating. I fucking disappeared. And that's how I went into that fucking hole. And now, climbing out of it, what I realized is I need them because I want to, that can't happen for them. I need them to know that that's never going to be them, and I need to provide that for them.
Right, yeah.
So that's where all of my energy is going now, every fucking day.
Yeah.
And I still feel the same way I felt before. Mental illness is a motherfucker, and I deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I deal with it openly. We're going to talk on this show all the fucking time about it. And I still live in that. So I'm talking to people recently, and I'm trying to change my mindset totally. And they always say, it's good to hear you doing so good. And I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not doing good.
Yeah.
I'm trying harder. I'm doing different things.
Yeah.
And I believe that the situations are going to change.
Yeah, you're doing, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever cry on your podcast?
Not really.
We're going to stop doing
Maybe
it.
once.
This is on your podcast, so I got a little
Yeah.
crying in there.
What? This is your podcast, but what?
It's your episode.
God damn it,
Hey.
Of the streak, baby.
Hey.
What got me emotional about that though was I couldn't even get to the point that I wanted to make. Really was when we left, which that really bothered me with the lady there. I was like, this is a shame that shouldn't be. She shouldn't be on the street. She needs medical help. Really, she needs to be in a home.
Yeah.
She needs attention. She's not capable of being out there by herself. It's just not. It's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we left, the guy that was sitting on the ground shouldn't have been there either. He was clearly mentally disabled, and I gave him a few dollars. And then my daughter, when we were walking away, she said, "Daddy, what's wrong with him?" I was like, "Well, he has a tough life. He's got some issues he's dealing with." And she said, "Is he bony?" And I had showed her like almost a year ago some videos of starving children to give her perspective because she has a really good life because she didn't want to eat her food, and I was like, you have to be thankful for everything you have, because there's a lot of people that don't have what you have. And but I was like, I told her, I was like, I said, these kids are starving. They're skin and bones, you know. Like, and she said, and that's where she got the bony thing from. And I was like, these kids don't have any hope. Like, there's no chance, you know. And I said, we have to work together as people to fix these problems. And she saw that guy yesterday, and she saw it.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing, you know. It's a good thing for her to see that, experience that. And
I mean, you know, he is bony, right? I mean, because he doesn't have what he doesn't have what he needs, and that's what she saw. You showed her people who don't have what they need.
Yeah.
She saw someone who didn't have what they need.
Right. Yeah. And so I think the key in society right now, we still have an element of our society that craves a power. For some reason, some people get off on having power over other people, but you don't have to have power to have success, or to have, I mean, you could have infinite success without power. There's no purpose for it. You know, power was a way to gain control of resources back in the day. You know, like when one society would say, I'm going to conquer this society so I can feed my people. We don't have to do that today. But we spend trillions of dollars fighting wars that don't need to happen, when we can invest that same amount of money into just people who need to do better. Mm-hmm. Like, we can invest that into our society as a whole to improve the society. We can invest that into other societies too, to improve those societies. And I think we'll get there. I'm not sure how long it'll take.
You're so much more optimistic every time we talk about this.
Well, I think we are getting there. And the reason I say that
I believe that you're right.
Is because, so think about it. I think about my family.
Yeah.
So my dad was, you know, he went through a lot of abuse, had some terrible stuff happen to him as a kid. Not sexual abuse, but physical abuse and mental abuse. Yeah. And then, you know, that passed on to me a little bit. Yeah. I went through some shit when I was a kid. And my dad, I love my dad tremendously, and he's a good father, and he did the best he could, and I saw his struggle with his trauma that he experienced, and unfortunately he passed some of that to me. And now I'm a parent, and I see those things in me. I look inside, I'm introspective, self-aware, and I see those faults in me. I see the stuff I see the stuff I've gained from trauma and that have been passed on to me. And I try to be very aware of those things, and I fight those battles every day. Mm-hmm. And now my daughter is in a situation where she doesn't have to experience
it's so much less.
Nearly as much of that stuff. I mean, it's so minuscule compared to what I went through, or my dad went through, or his dad went through.
Sure.
You know, so it's about fixing. It's about I guess fixing humanity one generation at a time, right? Mm-hmm. So you're trying to improve each generation. You want to make sure that your kids do better than you do. So maybe my whole life, I just spend my whole life creating the best shit I can, become as successful as I can through the stuff I create. Hopefully I create things that are good enough for people to appreciate, and they become successful. It's like Elon Musk. Elon Musk created billion-dollar companies so he could change the world. That's his goal.
Yeah.
You know, and I think even Jeff Bezos has said the same thing. His whole goal was to create a spacefaring society so he could move manufacturing into space, so we could increase our population of the Earth and have 1,000 Einsteins. And the only way he could do that, he didn't give a shit about books. He just wanted to create a powerful machine to fuel those ideas that he thought would benefit humanity. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use my creative ideas. I love to create things. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. And when I create something cool, I'm really proud of it, and it makes me fulfilled. But, you know, the ultimate goal is to create enough cool shit that it gives me the resources to make a difference. And maybe I don't have enough time to make a difference, but my daughter may. Maybe she can pick up the baton where I leave it off, and she's the one that makes the difference.
Yeah, give her a head start on hopefully some of the same type of work.
Right.
I mean, as far as, you know, passing on trauma and bullshit and all that, you know, I have kids, and I see the effects my childhood has on them now. and it's like constantly trying to fix that, and seeing that they have to deal with that breaks my heart. But also, seeing them do so much better than me
Right.
is fucking magical, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they're all. What I love is, I struggle to raise all these kids, and they are all the people I hoped they would be. I had less to do with it than I wanted to. They've done most of the heavy lifting on their own, but they're all doing crazy shit. And they have. I'm better than my dad. He was better than his, and all my kids are better than me. And that is the fucking goal.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. This guy's been a huge example to me for being a good parent.
Hell yeah.
He's one of the best parents I've ever seen.
Nice.
And he was a young dad. Like when
old
you
were
had
you?
your first son, you were what?
26. I don't think that's too young.
No, yeah, but that's still young. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 36.
I had 4 when I was
So-
26.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started 18, so you were 26. You had your son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you just want how many kids you got?
I got 3 boys.
Got 3 boys. I got 3 boys. I got 3 boys and a girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's the one that really taught me the importance of not spanking your children,
Yeah.
and told me about some of the
So that's-
studies, and I didn't. It got me to really research that and look into it, and
Yeah.
and I completely agree with him.
Yeah.
It's not a
That's
not
a
good
big thing for me.
My kids are very well behaved. Like now, listen, they do taekwondo. They do stuff like they're intelligent. Like I try to.
They
I'm trying to.
understand
My
discipline.
job is to
Yeah.
to get them to where they can function successfully in life. Like that's like whatever that is. If that's classical piano, a ballerina, like I don't give a shit, right? Like I'm less about what it is and more about just them. Like what it took
What
for
do you
you to be,
enjoy?
yeah. What do you enjoy? But what it took for you to be, what it's going to take for you to continue to be successful at comedy and to keep going through those levels. That I want them to have the ability to
Towards
do that
anything.
and execute towards whatever it is they want. But I also want them to have some level of confidence and self defense and you want them to have
you got to be able to walk around in the world.
yeah
and
you know.
see things through, right?
That's kind
Right.
of one
See
of the
things through. I don't let them quit. Like
Yeah.
it's not allowed. Like you commit to something, they know. It's 1 year period minimum.
That's what I'm doing now. That's why I couldn't eat any of that lobster that's over there.
There you go.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I decided to be vegetarian. And anytime I do anything, quit smoking, quit drinking, vegetarian, whatever it is, losing weight, I try to do it for at least a year. And that way I can actually see results. I can make the adjustment on that year. Is my life better or worse? Then I'll continue doing it or I won't. And it also, it keeps me from shit talking myself when I'm about to do something again.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to be vegetarian. Remember the last time you did that? How do you feel? You want to do it again? You know what I mean? Like really smacking myself on the hand
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the year thing too is, you're going to have ups and downs in life, and you can't make a what you feel like is a short-term decision is really a long-term one.
Yeah.
It has a long-term effect on the trajectory of your life. So if you force the kids to understand that, hey, and then what also starts to happen is, like, and I do the same. There's a lot of things I do with money with the kids as far as they got to cover, educational things that they have to have. Like, I buy their uniforms for Taekwondo, but if they want some special patch or
Right,
something or
right.
some special bag,
Work for it.
hey, they got to pay for half of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and if I really don't want to pay for it, like my son's Xbox, I wasn't cool with it. I don't want him to have one.
Yeah.
However, I don't. Even though he's my child, I don't believe I should just be able to blanketly say you shouldn't be able to have it. So what I said is that you're welcome to buy it yourself, 100% of it. And if you can do that, then I'm fine with you buying it, right? And now he's over time. This is done over a period of years.
Yeah.
But I mean, he bought his Xbox.
Hell yeah.
Like.
I shared a post from somebody on Instagram and you messaged me. What was that guy's name? I don't remember it. Indian dude, beard.
Guru.
Sadhguru.
Sadhguru,
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't. I found some of his stuff and I really get into it. I'm looking to do a dive.
Yeah.
He said one thing about parenting and being a parent and being a child. And to obviously paraphrase that, I'm not super familiar, but he said it's a child is an individual life. My expectations, I can have them, but it shouldn't affect what they do. It's their life, so they don't have to do the thing I want them to do.
Exactly.
And I realized my kids actually taught me that a while back. And when I saw that, it reminded me of now going through things with them and seeing the things they go through and all of that. And just trying to be supportive, but not overwhelmingly like, you got to do it this way.
Yeah.
Because then I think about it, I'm like, you got to do it this way. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I
yeah.
have no fucking idea. I'm learning things from them, man. My youngest boy's closing on his house, his first house, fucking tomorrow. I've never closed on a fucking house. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
Magic City for me.
Hey.
I'm so fucking proud.
Right.
And you know they're all doing crazy stuff. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No,
You got to go.
Do you need to jump on
Let's
the call?
let's end the show, Jesse. Jesse, cut these fucking clowns off.
we don't shut up. That's what it is.
Dude, thanks for everything. I'm super excited. We're gonna make so much cool shit together.
Yeah.
I'm excited to work with you, not only to get stuff done, but
Definitely.
I'm also really digging picking your brains and while I'm growing, seeing what you're doing has
Definitely.
been really helpful.
I'm excited.
We're gonna do
Excited.
cool shit, and we're gonna help a lot of people. I
You
think.
got to tell everybody the name of the show too.
Oh, it's going to be Never Been Happier with Eric Trundy. We're on NBC Saturdays at 10:30. Saturdays 10:30. Wednesdays 1 in the morning. come find us. We're going to be on NBC trying on underwear. Me and Daniel. We're trying on underwear. NBC. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Thanks, dude.
Later,
See
bye.
you guys.
We need some music for the creative businessman theme song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some.
Okay.
Some creative business boys or whatever it is. We're gonna
Yeah.
figure it out. So all right, guys.
Maybe
All right,
at the exit.